Hello, students. Welcome to the lesson 1 of World History 2, which is Age of Exploration. In this lesson, we will learn new discoveries and different journeys of people or conquerors during this time. In 16th century exploration, there were a lot of improved ships and new navigational instruments. Those were the causes, and then the effect would be longer journeys and longer travels for the people that are wanting to do some trade and wanting to discover other locations and other places. There were what you call conquerors. They are Vasco da Gama and Christopher Columbus. The voyages of exploration were a joint effort of individuals like them and then the government. And who were they? They are the Renaissance men, or the after rebirth, upper middle class, and then the background in trading and shipping. If you have those backgrounds, you're able to join this exploration. In terms of commerce, the goal of all voyages was financial gain and economic opportunity. Europeans sought sea routes to Asia because actually at that time the land routes, they were controlled by Arabs, which would have more challenges or difficulty for them to gain financially and to have more opportunities economically. Columbus at that time was seeking a direct route to Spice Islands, and Vasco da Gama discovered route to India around Cape of Good Hope, also in search of spices, sold his first cargo at 3,000% profit. Catholicism, on the other hand, was being revitalized because they were under attack from Christian humanists and Protestant Reformation. First voyages were by the Catholic countries of Spain and Portugal, and there's this term that they say requerimiento, or like a letter or an agreement. And eventually the Spanish would control Mexico while the Portuguese would control Brazil. Slavery during this time has actually increased. One major outcome of exploration was that, and slavery had died out in Europe. Unable to use the native population as workforce because of the disease, it killed millions of natives. Cuba, from 1 million, actually dropped to 10,000 within 5 years of Spanish occupation. The natives could easily relocate out of reach. This is the Colombian exchange. You see spices, crops, food, colonists, animals, disease, plants, weeds, and slaves. So from the Americas, potatoes, pumpkins, beans, tomatoes, turkeys, and disease, of course. And then going to Europe, Asia, and Africa, and goes back to the Americas with turnip, sugar cane, olives, citrus fruit, wheat, and disease. And of course, disease has been part of it as well, since there's been a trading exchange or Colombian exchange. Again, slavery was there, required because of labor-intensive crops. The crops were tobaccos and sugar. The one that you see on the photo is the setup of the slaves during that time. The slaves who were working on the tobacco and sugar crops. Slavery also was very common among African tribes. Europeans purchased them for labor in New World. This is the New World that you can see, the triangular trade. The population from certain African areas. So they would go to Americas to be slaved. And then there's growth of plantation agriculture. And then it expanded in the New World. So just take a look at that photo. Middle Passage. This is the name given to the transportation of slaves from America. This is the condition that they had at that time. It was very, very horrible. And in this transport or in this travel, actually, half of them would die before reaching the new place or the location that they call the New World. Continuing the lesson of age of exploration, there is what they call the early Mesoamerican cultures. Number one, you have the Olmecs. They are the first to originate in Central America around 1200 BC, and they were mostly farmers and traders. You also have the Mayan culture, 300 to 900 AD, along Yucatan Peninsula, a warrior society with a king and religion that revolved around many gods and had a priest class. Those are the Mayans. The next one were the Aztecs. They are a warrior society that controlled most of what is now Mexico. Multiple classes that included god king, prime minister, nobility, and peasants. You have another one is Incas, and then in the Andes Mountains, they built large cities and complex highway system. The main artistic contribution by the people of Mesoamerica was architecture and metal working. These are the conquests in the Americas. In 1492, Columbus landed in the West Indies, discovers New World. Relations were friendly at first, but soon it deteriorated because of the following reasons. They seized gold from the natives, they brought diseases like smallpox, measles, influenza, and they actually forced conversion. So this has been a problem for the people in that area. So what you can see here is the requerimiento. It's the content of this one is telling that there is no forced conviction or conversion happening, and so on and so forth. So you can just take a look at that, and yeah, this is part of what they have during this time. These are the conquistadors or conquerors during that time. So you have Hernan Cortez. He landed in Mexico in 1519. He formed alliances with those conquered by Aztecs to overthrow Moctezuma. Moctezuma welcomed Cortez to the capital of Tenochtitlan, but relations grew strained. So, meaning at first they were okay, and then eventually Cortez planned and formed alliances to conquer the Aztecs. Tenochtitlan was characterized by pyramids, systematic waterways, and centralized planning. And you will see that on this photo. This is what the society of the Aztec looked like, that they did some pyramids.